culture is as affected by economic events as anything else.
There are many challenges around the economy and culture in Scotland. Patterns of funding are changing. Traditional forms of funding culture are under huge pressure. But what's going to replace it?
I think the whole sort of collaborative effort around Festivals Edinburgh, I think the collaborative effort cross-sectorally in the city is really impressive, and it has given this place an edge.
I think it's obvious that we look to, first of all, define the economic impact of culture. You would think that we are economists first. We've got so adept at defining and measuring and finding ways to articulate the economic impact of what we do.
For example, the recent study that looked at the economic impact, which was about £280 million for the economy of Edinburgh, over 300 million for Scotland, 6,000 permanent jobs, full-time equivalent jobs. But you also had findings about the festivals increase people's sense of civic pride in their city. The festivals help people to feel that there was more social cohesion in the city.
The economic benefits of cultural activity here are extremely well documented and very well proven. And the risk is to be complacent about that, because really this place, in my experience, is the envy of the world.
Partnerships are absolutely essential to the way any large cultural institution works, and particularly the Edinburgh International Festival. There are creative partnerships, of course, international creative partnerships in order to deliver the programme, but also partnerships with public sector, partnerships with private sector, individual donors and corporate sponsorship. And all of those partnerships together help to deliver an event the size and scale of the Edinburgh International Festival.
Talking about tangible skills, for me what's become evident over many, many years, and I think will be the way of the future, even more so, is the need to be able to work in partnership, not just to get together for an ad hoc project, but actually to be able to build and practice really deep and long-term meaningful partnerships.
The mixed economy of public sector and private sector financing is a very strong one, and I think it's a very healthy one personally. I think you have a really in-depth understanding, particularly in Scotland, of the value of the cultural sector, not just to the economy but also to the social fabric of the city and Scotland.
I think there's always an assumption in the cultural sector that small fledgling organisations in particular will have the entire skill set, from the artistic kind of impetus in the first place to programming and curation, but also incredible business and administrative and entrepreneurial skills, and nearly always on very tiny resources.
In particular, learning perhaps from the commercial world how the most important advocates, the most important ambassadors are your users.
I think there's a very interesting interaction between the festivals, universities and the people who come here. People do come to Edinburgh from around the world to learn about how we put on a festival, how it works. We learn a lot from those visitors as well. The skills required are very, very diverse. I think what's interesting in Edinburgh is you have such a wide range of events to learn from.
So the kind of beauty of the Fringe, if you like, is that it's this sort of self-financing model, and I think that's fairly exceptional in the cultural sector. But I think that the reason the Fringe has been able to develop in that way is because we live in a society here in Scotland that has been brave enough and bold enough over 70 years to properly invest in its cultural infrastructure.
Regardless of the circumstances that all the different countries find themselves in, I think there is a common role for culture.
Certainly we operate in terms of my experience, my career, this has been an incredibly volatile period, and it looks set to continue, whether it's in the social, the political or the economic sphere.
And the summit is a very good opportunity to promote a direct dialogue between those artists and policymakers, and for the policymakers from around the world, for cultural ministers and their officials, to see the impact that a truly great and diverse international cultural event can have on the city.